Well, it rained today. So my original plans for video outside have been changed. I will have to make that video at a later time. So for today's video, you get a living abroad Q&A. I thought that I would answer some questions from kind of like an old school tag about what it's like living abroad, and hopefully it'll be a little bit of fun. Let me grab my phone, actually. It's over here. Hey everyone, it's John Thomas. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video today. If you are new here, welcome. I am an expat from the United States living abroad here in China, and I am sharing a lot of my experiences and adventures here on YouTube. So if that's something that interests you, then consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get into this Q&A. First question. Which country do you live in? I live in China, as I've already mentioned, and have made almost, I think, close to 150 videos about life here in China. I very much enjoy sharing my life and experiences here in China in an effort to hopefully show people what it's like. I think there's a lot of misconceptions sometimes around China, and I wanted to show people just kind of what it's like living in China. I think I had my own impressions of what a communist country would be like, and after living here now for almost 6 years, I thought that it was time to start showing people, that it's maybe not exactly what you think it's like. I've already answered that. How long have you lived here? It'll be almost 6 years that I've lived here. Have you ever lived in another country? I have not, outside of the United States. I've only lived in the US and China. It would be fun to live in another country, maybe in the future. I think my intent in naming the channel John Thomas Abroad was because at some point I'm sure that I would travel to another place or live in another place, and maybe that would be a part of the fun. Was it hard to get a resident permit or visa? It was a little bit challenging at first. The company I work for helped me through the entire process, and from what I understand, a lot of companies help people specifically in China to get those visas. So that is what I did. From a tourist visa standpoint, currently China isn't giving tourist visas, but even that process when it was open was a little bit more challenging. I definitely wrote a lot of invitation letters for people to include them for their 10-year tourist visas when they were coming to visit me, and hope that we can do that again. I don't think that would be in 2021, but maybe in 2022 people will be able to get tourist visas again. Maybe. Let's see. What was the worst experience you've had here in China? Oh, what's the worst experience I've had? I need to think about that one. One of the worst experiences I had in China was before Didi actually was an English application. I was at a restaurant with friends, and it was a little bit later at night, maybe like midnight, 1 in the morning. I needed to get back to my apartment. I couldn't get a taxi anywhere. Nobody would stop for me, so I just started walking. I was dressed up a little bit, so I had some dress shoes on, and I continued to walk and I was getting like blisters on the back of my foot, you know, like, and it started to get raw and a little bit bloody. And then in China at this point, and I haven't seen them in a while, but these cars would pull up and they just had like a flashing red light, and they would completely try to rip you off and say that it's gonna be like 200 RMB to get home, when you know it normally would just be like 25 or 30 RMB. And so I was like, no, I'm not gonna pay you all this extra money to take me. And I walked so far home. I think it took me close to almost 3 hours. I got home at like 3 in the morning, and yeah, it was awful, but I refused to get that, and nobody would pick me up. And so I had to walk, and that was terrible. I was frustrated. I was like, why am I living here? This is a terrible experience. Nobody is picking me up. Everything. I was just super frustrated. And I think that was a moment where I was like, if I only spoke the language, or if I only could read the language, I could use these apps and maybe try to get another ride. But I couldn't. It was even before Mobike or like the shared biking services, so I couldn't even get on a bike to ride because that wasn't around when I first moved here in 2015. But I would say that was one of the worst experiences that I've had in the city that I lived in. Tell us about a tourist attraction or a sightseeing place you like, and talk a little bit about it. Oh, there's so many great places to see here in China, but the one that always brings my heart back is the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. I love that park. I love bringing people there to see that attraction. I like the energy that's there. I like the old culture. I love the elderly people playing games and doing exercises. To me, it just speaks so much of China and Chinese culture that, hands down, it's one of my absolute favorite places. Yeah, that or the Great Wall of China. I know that's super like cliche and easy to come up with, but I think the Great Wall has an amazing energy to it. Being able to go to different parts of the wall over time, now that I've lived here for a while, has also been really cool, just to see how that kind of looks different in different parts of the on different parts of the wall. So absolutely love the Great Wall as well. So I picked 2, not just 1, 2. Next question, what do you think about the country you live in? How well do they receive foreigners? I feel like China receives foreigners really well. I think that they are accepting. I feel like people just want to bring you in and they want to help you. I think when you try to speak the language, they kind of reciprocate and want to be helpful. So I definitely feel like China receives foreigners well. I absolutely love living here. I think there's definitely ups and downs, just like there is in every country you live in. And I do have some BCDs, and I heard that phrase from Aleese Lightyear. I can't believe I haven't thought about it before. She's an incredible YouTuber. Go check her out if you haven't done so already, Aleese Lightyear. I'll link her down below as well. But she calls it a BCD, a bad China day. We definitely have some of those occasionally. You have a bad China day where nothing seems to be working out, where you can't get a car and you're not able to communicate clearly, and it's just frustrating. Like going to the bank. Every time I go to the bank is typically a BCD, a bad China day, because I get so super frustrated going to the bank. Maybe that's like my worst experience in China, banking. Yeah, like outside of that one situation, every time I go to the bank is like a BCD, a bad China day. But overall, living in China is fantastic. The food's amazing, the people are amazing. If you haven't seen my video on the 8 reasons why I love living in China, then check that video out, because I definitely feel like it's a great place to be. What products from your home country do you miss the most? Oh, it has to be food products, I think, is what I miss the most. I think moving here to China, I thought I'd miss ranch dressing, and I don't miss that. But I miss things like cottage cheese. I miss Cheez-Its. I miss a dryer. None of the apartments I've lived in have a dryer. I always have to dry things on a laundry rack. I definitely think I miss a dryer, for sure. There's some advantages to hanging up your clothes, but not as many advantages as actually having a physical dryer to dry your clothes. So maybe it's a dryer. You know, I think a dryer. Let's say dryer for my clothes. What's something you use every day where you live that you think your home country should also have? Oh, what would that be? Oh man, I don't know. I guess I would have to say like Alipay. I use Alipay every day here in China, and I never have to carry a wallet. I never have to, like, anything related to money or purchasing. It can all be done on Alipay. I pay my electric bill on Alipay. I pay my phone bill on Alipay. I order food on Alipay. I have my health code on Alipay. I don't think there's any app that's kind of all-in-one in the US that people use as much as we use that in China. So Alipay would be it. That's the one thing that I choose that maybe the US doesn't have anything similar to that. I think there's multiple apps that you could use over the course of a day, but Alipay is the one that I use like so many times in a day. WeChat would be a close runner-up, though I don't use that as often. All right, last question. If you could describe in one word your experience in this country, what would it be? One word. Unforgettable. Unforgettable would be the word. There are so many things in this country that have changed my life. And I think the people I've met, the experiences I've had, the cities I've visited, it's unforgettable. So that's how I would describe it. There you have it, a living abroad Q&A. I have never done anything like that before on the channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed kind of reflecting on my experiences here in China and maybe sharing a little bit with you as well. Really appreciate you stopping by. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see all of you in upcoming videos, more probably outside, because I am not a huge fan of the sit down inside videos. I like to get out into the cities and show you a little bit of life in China. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.